Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. When it comes to CRM usage, to start with, CRM was introduced so that you would do away with much of the manual work, say with a spreadsheet and all the data entry. Using a CRM removes much of that manual work. But is that all it can do? Absolutely not. Where can it go forward? Well, you can have your CRM be more than just a data storage, more than just a data handler. It can think with you, it can think for you, it can guide you, and it can act with and for you. This can totally enable you to close your deals faster, to have better customer interactions, and to have a smoother pipeline, one that leads to higher win rates. And that's where Zoho CRM's new features come into play. Most of these features are powered by Zia, our AI agent. You know about this already. So we're going to look at a few different features today. And just for the ease of understanding, I've split them up into three categories. All these three together make sure you go from manual CRM usage to intelligent CRM usage. So when we say intelligent, what are the three factors we are taking into account today? The first is automation. When we say automation, we mean that it takes out much of the busy work and lets you focus on actually selling. So you don't do any of the mundane repetitive tasks. So the next is recommendations, where you get insights, you get guides into the data that you're working with. Not just raw data, you're not just waiting for the insights to come at the end of the month, you're getting insights on the daily. And then you have vision. Like the name suggests, this deals with more than just text, it deals with images. And in your CRM, whether that's images within your record or images that you're uploading to your CRM, this is going to help you handle those. So let's start with automation. The first feature we'll look at in terms of automation is a workflow suggestion. Everyone here is a CRM user, so I don't need to explain what a workflow is, but it basically helps you set up your pipeline within the CRM. Now, how we did it before is to manually set up your workflow using workflow rules, and you can still do that. You can absolutely create your own workflows, but Zia takes this a step forward by looking at the way you work within your CRM and then suggesting workflow rules that would suit your business pipeline. So the suggestions are completely based on your CRM usage and would differ from one CRM account to the other. Where can you find these suggestions? One place you can look for it is the Zia notifications. That is on the bottom right corner of your screen where you get your Zia notifications. If you pull that up, you'll find workflow suggestions as a title. And if you click into that, you'll be taken into this little box that you see right here. The other place you can find it is in your settings. In your settings, search for workflow and you'll find all your workflow rules. Below this box is where you have your regular setup for workflow rules, the manual setup. Right at the top, you'll find suggestions by Zia. You can choose to preview these suggestions, and if you like it, you can use it just as it is suggested. If you want to make edits to it, you can do that too. And just by that click of the button, the workflow is set up. So not only is the workflow being created for you, you don't even have to think about what workflow needs to be created. Then we have macro suggestions. This is very similar to workflow suggestions. Here, your repetitive tasks, when you have repeated a task over a period of 7 days on your CRM account, Zia takes note of it and suggests that you convert this task into a little macro. Here's an example that we have created. In this example, the user, the sales rep, has called a lead, an active lead, a couple of times. They've called a couple of times without an answer. So as soon as they realize that there is no answer, it is suggested that a notification email is sent out immediately. Now, instead of the user having to send this email out manually, once it's set up as a macro, it's going to happen behind the scenes without you having to do a single thing on your own. And once Zia notices such activities being done on the repeat, it will give you this macro suggestion which you can then implement within your CRM account. And then we have owner assignment suggestion. So whenever you create a new lead, you have to think about who's going to take up this lead, which sales rep is going to be assigned the task of taking this lead all the way through to the win stage. You may have certain trees set up, some certain decision trees set up within your organization for how you want to do this. You may have set up these rules as well within your CRM. This takes it one step forward. So Zia analyzes how certain agents are dealing with leads. It finds commonalities when they win something and commonalities based on the industry, etc. It identifies the people that work well for certain types of deals. And from then on, Zia will suggest a lead owner as soon as you create the lead. If it has enough information in your lead form, as you're typing in the form, you'll find a little pop-up at the top that suggests a user. You can choose the Zia suggested user, or you can go ahead and suggest your own user as you would normally. Let's say you do pick the Zia suggested user, you will always be notified by that Zia icon that appears beside your lead owner's name. You can later analyze and see if Zia assigned users perform better. If that suggestion is working better for you, those analytics will also be available to you once you've been using it long enough. So in this way, it takes out a little bit of the manual work of assigning to the right person, and it also ensures that beyond what we initially set up for our pipelines, it goes and looks at the actual data and gives you the exact correct information on who is best equipped to handle a lead. And once we're done with all the automation part, we are handling data on the regular. You have a lot of leads coming in. Your CRM is being used regularly. What more do you need? At that point, we have recommendations. Now that the manual clutter is done, the next challenge is decision fatigue. That's what we're going to remove with recommendations. So the first thing here, first option you have is a recommendation builder. It allows you to create recommendations that you think would be suitable for your customers. So let's say you're selling a couple of products and you want to suggest related products to those customers. Well, that's what you're going to be able to do with the recommendation builder. You can go into the setup and create a recommendation. You can select the module that you want the recommendations to be shown for and which module the recommendations will appear in. You can give criteria as well, whether you want it to be for all records, or if you're working with purchases, first-time purchasers, revenue above a certain limit, or if you look at a more simple example, let's say a user's buying laptops and you want to suggest laptop accessories to them, other peripherals to go along with it, then you'd be able to do that as well using this recommendation builder. In this example here, you can see that this lead is being suggested, being recommended this particular television. So then your sales rep, whoever's handling this lead, can go ahead and make those recommendations and try to get a better sale, more revenue for the company. Again, with this too, you'd be able to analyze how well these recommendations are performing at a later date. Once you've used the system long enough, it will tell you how well these recommendations are performing as well. So whether the deals were created, whether the deals were won, how many deals were lost, all of that is going to be known to you through the analytics dashboard that is specifically for recommendations. You'll find it right beside the recommendations in your settings. So that way you also know that the system is working well for you. The next thing is a next best experience. It's quite simple. It's right in the name. When you are dealing with a lead regularly, you may sometimes not know what is the next action that you need to take. What do you need to do next? Should you make a call? Should you send an email? Should you send them a demo request? Zia is going to take out all of that guesswork and tell you exactly what the next best action is. This is based on previous interactions with other leads or with this lead, and it's a collation of all that information to tell you exactly what might work. So in this case, Zia has suggested to initiate a call to address concerns. Where does this come from? This comes from previous interactions with this lead. So it's suggesting you create a call. It doesn't just tell you to call, it's also telling you why you need to call. So if this is an email, it's going to tell you, let's say, send an email with a quote or send an email with the invoice. It's going to give you very specific instructions on what you need to do next, enabling you to work a lot faster. On a similar vein is the Similarity recommender. Let's say you're dealing with hundreds of leads and a lot of them have been successful. It would be great to know what tricks and what pipelines worked great with certain leads. And when a new lead comes in that has a very similar requirement, very similar background and industry, then you would want to use the same techniques to get this lead through to the win stage. Right? So that's what Similarity Recommender does. It shows you campaigns, deals that are similar to the ones that you are looking at. So you open up a deal, you're looking at all of the information about the deal, you'll see a little box that shows you a similar campaign. You can click into that campaign right here. If you click into it, it goes into that particular campaign and you can get the full view of everything that's happened within that particular deal. If just this overview is enough, that will also help you out. It'll also tell you why this has been shown as a similarity with this campaign, giving you all the information you need to act on this campaign and get a more likely success rate. And then you have best time to contact. Now, this is similar to next best thing, except that this is specifically based on your previous interactions with a particular lead. Let's say you've had a few calls with a lead and a couple of emails, and now you want to reach out to them again. You'll see a little widget like the one right here on the right hand side of the screen, which says best time to contact. It says 9:30 a.m. call or email. This happens because it is likely that this sales rep has interacted with this lead at around 9 o'clock or 9:30 on call as well as email. Let's say a particular lead has a 9 to 5 job and only responds within that time. Then it's definitely not going to show you a 6 p.m. Let's say you called a couple of times at 6 p.m. They're not picking up. You called again at 2 p.m. They did pick up. Then that's the best time that you'll be shown. Even if a new sales rep is picking up this lead and starting to work, they will have this information so that they are not just wasting their time waiting on a response. They'll know when the lead is most likely to respond and they can make best use of it. Strike the iron while it's hot. And then finally, you have vision. Like I said, vision is to do with all things images. And to start with, you have image validation. Now, you may have scenarios in your CRM where you need to upload a lot of images. Let's say you have a real estate listing module. And in this module, you want to be able to upload pictures of listings. So houses, I want to be able to upload pictures of houses. But I want to make sure that all the images uploaded are clear and no images of barnyards or apartment buildings and all of that is not in it, and only house images are in the module. Then I can set up an image validation rule. So I go into my image validation settings, I choose the module that I want, and then I choose the field, that is your image field, whichever that is. You can either use this rule for every single record in the module or just a few based on some criteria. Now, let's say I want to apply this rule only to houses. I select that as property type, and then you go ahead and upload at least 5 images. Now, in this case, instead of me uploading 5 pictures of houses and saying this is what I want, I just want to avoid blurry images. That's my goal. So if that's the case, what I'm going to do is upload 5 blurry images and then say this is undesired. So if I've clicked that, That means any image that's blurry will be rejected. If it's clear, it'll be accepted. As simple as that. We'll see this working during the demo so you can get a better understanding as well. In case the image is blurry and I've uploaded it, you'll get a little exclamation point by your image letting you know that the image has failed its validation. You can then click into this and decide to either remove the image, or you can say that the image is approved and it was a system error. You can also let Zia know whether the analysis was right or wrong, and Zia will train itself based on your response. And then you have duplicate image detection. This comes in handy where you have modules where you do not want similar images within the module across multiple records. Let's take an example of an HR module. Let's say you handle all your employee data within the CRM. And there, obviously, you don't want two employees that look alike unless they're twins. So in that case, you have a duplicate image detection enabled for that particular module. So you don't have to do any setup, just turn it on and it starts working. Anytime you upload an image that is similar to a pre-existing image within the module, you get an alert, again an exclamation point, and then you can either remove or keep the image that you've uploaded. Of course, as soon as you upload, you'll see a little refresh sign there as he is analyzing the image. This is in the case of the previous feature as well. You'll see it analyze for a bit and then you'll see these icons get updated. And finally, we have ICR, which is Intelligent Character Recognition. Now, this was a much sought after feature that's now in the system for you to use, which is a great way for you to create a lead from an image. So to start with, you'll have to set this up. You go into your settings, you find ICR, it's within Zia Vision. You go into the settings and let Zia know what kind of images you are going to be uploading and what the data looks like. So in this case, you want to have a laptop listings as your image. This is a sample listing that we've selected, and then we are highlighting the text. So the text has been retrieved by the system and it's been put out here. You can then match it to CRM fields. When you're setting it up, you do this manually. When you're uploading a new image, the system starts to do it on its own. So you set it up, you tell the system what you're looking for and which fields are mapped to what portions of the image. And after that, the system learns, and the next time you upload an image. So you, instead of creating a lead manually, you click on the drop down and you select create from image, upload an image, and if the structure of the image is similar to the one you have already, it then maps all the fields. It is very important that the structure of the image remains similar. So it works great in terms of ID cards or business cards and things of similar structure, right? So that's important to keep in mind. And that brings us to the demo. So we'll go through a couple of features here. There are a couple of features that we may not be able to demo. This is simply by virtue of the fact that something like macro suggestions and workflow suggestions, they would only show up if you're using your CRM regularly. And since this is a demo account, it's not something we use on the regular, right? But when you are using it, you'll be able to see those suggestions. Where you'll find them, again, you'll find them right here within your Zia notifications, and you'll also find them within your settings. So again, you go to workflows and you will find it here if you have a suggestion coming up. And for macros, you'll find the suggestion within your Zia notification. So let's just go to the next thing that we can work with, right? So we have the next feature that we can look at, which is a recommendation of a lead owner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a lead here and show you how that works. So I will create a lead. You can see that a lead owner is already assigned to this lead, but we haven't put in any information, so that's likely to change. I am going to give a random company name. I am going to change the lead source and the industry. Let me give a name. Okay. So we have some data put in for this particular lead. I'm not filling in everything, but you can see that there is a pop-up right here at the top which says Zia has an owner recommendation for this lead. So when I click on check now, it has suggested Benjamin Hartford, different from the lead owner that we had assigned from the system itself. You can also look at other recommendations. There are other people that can handle this lead, but this person has a higher confidence rating. So we will go with that particular person. And you can see the same suggestions from this drop down as well. You can choose to navigate from either place. So I'm just going to make Benjamin the lead owner. And you can see the Zia icon next to the lead owner's name. That's how you know when a lead has been assigned using a Zia recommendation. Great. Now the next thing we spoke about was the recommendation engine. I am going to show you how to set that up first before we get into how it works. So let's take this one for example. So you have your recommendation name, your module, and who you're going to recommend it to. And then you can select the criteria as well. This I've set it to not empty so that everybody receives a recommendation. Once you have set it up, let me just go back out. You'll find all of your information right here. And you can toggle these things on and off and edit everything here. This has been set up already. And once you edit it, Zia usually takes a while to learn. But once it has done all of the learning, it will give you a notification like this. And that means that your feature is ready to be used. So in our case, we have the recommendations already being used on this account. So let me just show you what it looks like. Yeah. So for this lead, you can see that it has recommended a particular phone. This is based on our criteria that we've given. You can also let Zia know if the recommendation was helpful or not from this little widget right there. So that's how recommendations works. And then we go to next best thing to do and similarity. Let me just swap to a different lead. So this is a deal that we have. You can navigate to this from your deals tab. I'm just going back to show you how the navigation works. So you pick a deal that you want to look into. And you've had some conversations with this particular deal. You've had some emails and calls being exchanged. You can see that there is a similar deal that's being shown, and it tells you why the deal is similar. Now you can navigate into this deal from here and then see what has worked with this particular deal. And once you know what's working and what's great, you go ahead and apply the same strategy for this particular deal as well. And also it shows you what the next best thing to do is. That is right here. You can see this, and here it says make a call. You can simply click on this and it goes ahead and makes the call. Another thing we talked about was the best time to contact. So I'm just going to switch to an account where I have had a couple of calls. So I have had a couple of calls with this particular lead from this account. In our previous session, we actually looked at the call transcripts for this particular lead and how Zia analyzes the call transcripts and tells you what has worked and what hasn't, right? So now that we've had a couple of calls with this particular lead, there is a time when this lead has been more responsive, Right now, for today, it says there's no best time for the day and no best time to make a call or an email. You can swap days by clicking right here. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire list. I do know that this lead has been most responsive on Mondays and only on Mondays. So I am going to click on Monday and it says the best time to contact is 6:30 p.m. So if I call this lead on a Monday at 6:30 p.m., they are most likely to respond. Of course, this is a very singular example. There might be leads who are responsive every weekday between 9 to 5. In that case, you wouldn't have to switch so many tabs. And in case you feel like you want to get a better view, you want to look up more dates, you can always open the calendar and select another date. So I can check a Monday further down the line as well, and it'll still show me the right time to call this particular lead. And yeah, let's also give you a look at all of the analytics. So if you go into your settings and scroll all the way down to Zia, this is where you find your recommendations and vision and everything. So alongside recommendations, you find recommendation analytics. If you go into that, you can see all of the analytics. Now, this is an account that isn't being used, but when you're using your account regularly, you'll find a lot of data here that's going to help you make better informed decisions for your business. Analytics are available to you at various parts here with various features. This is just simply for recommendations. And then we have Zia Vision, which we spoke about in our deck. So for this example, I'm going to show you this rule just so you also know how to set up the rule. You can create a new rule right here. This one's been set up already. Let me show you how that works. So this rule is called motorcycles. I have a module called bikes. So there's a little bit of confusion when we say bikes because in India, bikes could mean motorcycles and it could also mean bicycles. And I only want images of bicycles, no motorcycles. So I've selected the module bikes and I've chosen the right image field. And I want to apply this rule, this validation to every single record in that module. And I want my system to match the image with what I have. So I've gone ahead and uploaded a couple of pictures of bicycles within my gallery. And I've added that gallery to this particular field here. You can also choose to upload individual images. You need to give a couple of images for the system to work really well. So I have uploaded a couple of pictures of bicycles and I have let the system know that this kind of image is desired. It could work the other way also. I could have uploaded a couple of pictures of motorcycles and said that it was undesired. In this case, I have given it this particular instruction. I will jump right to that module. Right here, you have bikes. I'm going to open up a record and let me upload an image. I'm going to put in an image that is incorrect. This is definitely not a bicycle. This is a motorcycle. We know that. We just want to make sure that Zia can identify it as well. So I go ahead and upload it. And like I said, you can see a little icon there that tells you that Zia is validating this image. I'll give it a second and refresh. Yep, you can immediately see that the image validation has failed. So Zia thinks that this image does not meet the guidelines that we've set. Once you click into that, you can see why. This is definitely not going by our guidelines. You can then accept or remove. In my case, I will remove it. And then it immediately asks me if this validation was correct. Did it make an error? Absolutely not. This was correct. So I leave it at that and we're done. Now I can go ahead and upload an image of a bicycle and it'll work great. The next thing we have, I'll go right back to Zia Vision. we have duplicate image detection. I have to set this up only for one module. You can set it up for any module you want. It's as simple as selecting the module you need. So here I have this enabled for the module college students. So we navigate to that module. I am going to open up a lead. And again, I'm uploading an image that I know is a duplicate. I have assigned this image to another lead within this module. We just want to make sure that it works. And we can do a check. And there you go. It immediately tells you that this image is a duplicate. There is another lead. You can even see the other lead here. In case you feel like this is correct, it belongs with this lead, you can edit this lead and fix the issue. If not, you can choose to upload a new image or leave it at that. So that's how that works. And the last feature we talked about is ICR. I'm going to show you the setup as well, so you know how that works. We'll go back to the college students module. So I want this module to be able to create records based on ID cards. So the setup has been done using an ID card. We have used this ID card here. And as soon as we uploaded this image for training, Zia has pulled up all the data that is on this ID card, and then we have mapped it, associated it to the CRM fields that we believe are right. Once you've done this, once you've set it up, you can train on more images. We've just done the one image and it'll still work pretty great. Once you've done this, you go back to the module, whichever module you've set up ICR on, and then you can upload your images and that'll create a record just from that image. So we can take a look at how that works as well. So I'm in the right module. Go to create a lead. From the drop down, you select create from image. And I have a different ID card here. Give it a couple of seconds to extract the data and it's done. So you can actually check if all of these are associated correctly. If you feel like there's an error, you can always edit the field from the drop down, but in this case it looks like everything is all right, and you simply hit proceed and you have a lead that's been created from your image with all of the data pre-populated. And you can also see that this lead is being assigned an owner, but that's not the point here. The whole point was for you to see how ICR works. And that's it. That lets you create a lead just from an image. I hope all of you will be using these features and trying it out and letting us know how well it works for your system.